Good morning. Today is Tuesday, the 29th of March. I'm Kylie and I'm joined with Joe this morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Another very nice green day in the Ords so far, touch wood. The chart is looking fantastic. Right, so what I thought we'd do today is go through some charts that we looked at yesterday, talk some financials and discuss some strategy in one of the charts, plus do a scan. So a bit to go through. One thing we wanted to talk about today was setups and the perfect trade that we look for. And we felt that this chart for MLX is a very good explanation of what we ideally look for. And this, I guess, is where discipline and patience would come into your trading. This chart, if you actually put it on a 5-year, is just a amazing looking saucer. When you see a saucer like this, you can see there's a clear downtrend. You've got accumulation at the bottom, and that's a really long sideways move. We're talking
super long.
December 19 all the way through to December 20. So a good 12 months of a sideways move. So bringing this in here, what is a really good entry was this 10-cent level. You can see 1, 2 tries gone down, another attempt here, moving up, and you can see very closely there's volume moving up to this 10 cents. There's your first entry there, the break of 10. Now you'd ride this up. Now there's so many ways that you could trade this. You can pick a target and sell. You could put a trailing stop in. You could just sit with it and wait and see what happens. Either way, there is a good move up. What then would typically happen is you'll find another sideways move, and this should also be of a good length of time. So you can see this stock has gone from sort of February 21 through to May 21. So that's another really good few months of a sideways move. It's broken this level here, which was entry 2. So let's say 25 cents. Unfortunately, it had a bit of an issue. So there's every chance you may have got stopped out of this stock. Doesn't matter. You then keep an eye on and wait for your next entry. This hasn't been a very clear entry here until you get to this point, and then you've got another clear box sideways move. It's broken out of here and kept going. Again, you then could either put a trailing stop in, put a target in, or just keep watching and waiting to see how it goes. It's up to you how your trade is. What we're sort of trying to put out here is you don't need to rush in. You just are waiting. We're waiting always for this long sideways move and a good breakout. And a good long sideways move in this case is, 12 months, 3 to 4 months. This is even sort of a month and a half. So it's just the thought, it's a good opportunity to sort of point out some of the things that you look for. It's given us 3 entries. You could have taken profit, got in again, taken profit, got in again, taken profit. So, or just hung on to it. Or sold down here and walked away and bought something else and then come back 12 months later and go, oh, look, it's gone up. But whatever, you've made money. Any questions on that, just let us know.
Because in hindsight, that one's done the right thing. It's always come back and it's broken out. So it's a nice one to look at. It's a happy story.
It's a happy story,
so far.
But it's good to have a plan the whole way up. You've got to have a strategy. And you know what? If you've made profit down here, then happy days. You've made profit. Always profit is good.
Good chart.
All right. So just quickly, yesterday we went through some stocks. I just want to see what they're doing today. I'll bring this back down to a year chart. NXM, we're hoping it might pop out here. It's having a bit of an issue, a bit of a sell-off today. Not a huge amount has gone through. I wouldn't totally write this one off, but it doesn't look as exciting as it did. MMI is still moving sideways. That just looks better and better. That's totally dropping off while that is staying steady. So that still looks fairly decent. MLD, still moving sideways, still forming pattern. Again, if the longer this can do that, the better. It's going to be boring if you're in it, but I don't know, just be patient. Try not to look at it unless you've got to stop. You could, if you're really conservative, put a tight stop in, just stop out if you are unsure. The longer the better though, as we keep saying. CXO, we talked about this briefly yesterday, that has popped out today. Some may, again, it's not been as long a move as would probably like. It may continue on, and some people may accuse this of being a false breakout. It still looks positive. I'd still have a stop in. You could have a stop below this gap here, wherever you're wanting to, where your risk level is. There's a few places you could put your stop for that if you're in, but it's still looking pretty good. DEV, again, nice, still just holding this. This isn't so convincing, but it is holding the level at 45, which is pretty decent. And GRR, I think all iron ore is a little bit down today, so it's still just dropped a bit, but it's still holding in there, so not too bad. Now, one thing that Frank and I have been noticing is that all the banks seem to be doing fairly well. So the first one that I'd like to just go through is that they've all got a very similar pattern right now, and Westpac, it looks the best at the moment. It's a very big high, low. There's your high, low there. It's had it's finding resistance at 24, and it broke through yesterday and is carrying on today. That chart looks great with a potential gap here to fill. So that's a great looking chart. What we're noticing is that most of them are looking very similar. So Bank of Queensland looks very much the same. I don't know, people call this a double bottom, but either way, that is a nice break of $8.50 today. Bendigo Bank, very much the same. This is a really nice resistance across there at $10.20. Break through that would look great. This looks very encouraging. Bendigo looks great. ANZ, not so exciting. We've clearly seen three other banks look better. That doesn't excite me much. So ANZ is probably not. There's other choices. NAB. This looks like CBA. That's gone for a run. Amount you'd expect this to probably hang around $32 for a while, but at the moment we're waiting on an entry. CBA, I mean, this is over $100, expensive. It's gone for a big run. So this is doing the sideways move that you think that NAB's going to do now. It's filled this gap here. So it's not surprising that it has moved sideways, and you'd now expect another run up. So wait for an entry on that. Suncorp is interesting in that this is lifted. We haven't seen that real high low that we've seen with Westpac or Bank of Queensland or Bendigo. It's probably a little bit of work to do on that in terms of where your entry would be and exit. And then the last one, I'm sure everyone out there has heard of an ETF. This is where they have it's like this sector of all the financials. So the ETF for financials is QFN, and what it does is it's got a lot of the banks in the one portfolio, which is what you're investing in. So you then get a distribution. I'm pretty sure QFN pays one. You need to look into that, but you can see instead of buying, say, 3 banks, you can buy QFN, which covers most of the big banks. And that's also looking fairly decent as well, with a bit of a break. So the financials look quite interesting at the moment, something to probably not take your eyes off. So that's that. We'll quickly just do my usual scan today. We've got 16 have come up. AVZ we talked about yesterday, it's broken $1. It's still going, still waiting for an entry. CXO we talked about. LKE, again, it's done a tiny sideways move. Your entry's down at this point here.
Today.
Yeah, it's broken, but it hasn't been a very long move.
No.
Well done if you're in it. It's just still waiting for a really good entry. MGF Global Fund, that is done a higher low. Looks like this is potentially a higher high. Good OBV. Not a bad looking stock, a lot of volume. I've seen better charts, but it's something to look at, I guess. MLX is the one that we've just been talking about and analysing. Again, it's still up at that 70 cents. It broke it yesterday. It's still hanging around there today. Medibank, no. Maya is this is a great pattern. You call this a flag. Apologies for cutting out a bit of the wicks, but let's just make it round numbers for ease. It's 50 cents there. We're going to put it across here at 53 cents. It's popped out. That looks great. You could run the flagpole. Let's be conservative from the 45 up to 53. So what's that, 8 cents? So you go potentially 8 cents up from 53 is your target. So that's just a really pretty nice little pattern for Maya.
Yeah.
Nearmat's clearly had some interesting news today, but nothing, unless you were in it, you'd gapped up. You need to let that one go and wait to see what happens. PLS is one that keeps coming out. Now, we talked about this a lot earlier on. It's made some money. Hopefully you've all been stopped out. But looks like it's sort of on the road to recovery. I guess on the long term, this is just a bit of a retracement. But hopefully you've all managed this trade well if you're in it. No, seen better. No, that's gap down, so no. I think I've seen better. It's not too bad. $1.90 here. It's weird. It's a bit of a rough old ride. This one is it's $2 stock. Yeah, it's a bit of no. Not much. You're not getting much. That's not so. That's actually. It's interesting. Breaker 240. It's not a very. It looks like it's a new float. So yeah, I guess breaker 240 does. That's resistance there. This is all a bit weird though. Not sure what's going on here. I've seen better. That's not bad. That's not bad. It's not perfect. It's not our perfect trade. Again, we just love to see that sideways move. I feel like a broken record, but it just makes things tidy, and then a nice pop out is so easy. It's just a lot easier trade. Sleep easier at night with those sorts of trades. That's a little bit iffy, but it is a good breakout. So that's it. Any other questions?
Wonderful. No, that's it for today. That's good. Thank you, Kylie.
Thank you, everyone. We'll chat to you later on.